If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Wednesday, May 8th, 2013. I'm your host, Jeff Commings. Joining me in the Finis monitor shortly will be two-time Olympian Dave Wharton. The individual medley medalist will be one of more than 1,000 people competing in the Masters Spring Nationals later this week in Indianapolis. And Dave joins us now via Skype. Dave, good to see you. How are you?
I'm good, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Are you getting excited, getting pumped up for Nationals?
It's going to be fun. I've gone a couple years ago. I took last year off because I had some back issues, but I am looking forward to going to see a lot of friends and, be involved in the sport again at a competitor level.
What got you interested in getting into master swimming?
I needed some therapy, actually. I had some back issues, so I got back into the pool to help exercise. I mean, I've never stopped being active, and when I had some back issues, getting back in the pool was a pretty critical point of staying active. So once I did that and started enjoying it again, so I was like, all right, time to go back and compete again.
Well, you're definitely putting it all out there. I noticed you're swimming all 3 IMs in Indianapolis, including that 400 IM, which would tell me that you've been actually training pretty hard. Is that correct? I mean, you can't fake a 400 IM.
It's hard to fake, that's for sure. I've been training, but not nearly, obviously, at the level that I used to. But I think sometimes you just never leaves you as far as the events that you've done in the past. At least for me, that's the case. I didn't have a whole lot of sprinting back then. I probably still don't. So I figured I'd still go for the longer stuff.
So give us an idea of a typical workout for you in terms of yardage and kind of the makeup of it.
It's pretty short and sweet. We have a master's team in New Albany, Ohio, and 5:30 in the morning, a couple days a week, and once on the weekend. So we get in, we warm up 500 or 600, and then we go about 2,500. So it's about 3,000 yards, and that's about it. And then I do 1 or 2 workouts on my own at the local gym to kind of keep my yardage up there. And that's been the last month up to this point. Prior to that, it was still running, lifting, doing lots of things, not just swimming.
Well, this must feel like even on your toughest days, must feel like a taper compared to what you did with Dick Schulberg in Germantown.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But you can probably just fall back on that, all those 10,000 flies and probably 10,000 IMs you did, and you can just like, well, I can kind of make a withdrawal from that bank right now.
I had to bank it for a little later, and sure enough, I'm calling it up now.
I also noticed that you're doing the breaststrokes at nationals, and when you were at your elite level, the 200 fly was your event. I mean, you made the Olympics in '92. Why the breaststrokes?
Actually, a little personal challenge. My daughter's swimming now, and she's a breaststroker. So I figured I'd do some breaststroke events to see if I can still take her down and have some personal challenges with her in those events. So, and I started my national career qualifying for nationals in the breaststroke. So I kind of had the background a long time ago, but now with my daughter swimming breaststroke, I was like, all right, let's have some fun and do a little family challenging.
Wow, all right, a little family smackdown. Okay, well, that'll be interesting, I'm sure. So what are your goals or expectations for nationals besides beating your daughter?
Just to go and have some fun, reconnect with some friends from the swimming days and from the coaching days, and to put myself out there to challenge myself again. I just never lost that competitiveness. It was just a matter of what I was applying it to. So now at the swimming world again, to go to nationals, and just compete, put it out there. I'll be riding on a bike this summer to do some fundraising for cancer, and then I'll be doing the half marathon later this year in October. So I like the challenges. I still like to, challenge myself. So going to this nationals is about, stepping up and doing the best I can. I certainly don't expect the times to be what they were 20 years ago, but I am going to do everything in my power to race.
Yeah, I learned that very quickly. Don't expect what you did in your past swimming life to be anywhere close to that.
You're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good.
Well, you just have to let it all go, Dave. That's the expectation you have to have.
Yeah.
So, as you said, you did some coaching. You were coaching at Ohio State, from what I understand. How did you get into that?
I did some coaching at Ohio State. I was the assistant there for 4 years. Out of SC, I ended up getting a job with Bill Wadley as the assistant coach at Ohio State, and really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun working with the athletes, and did that for 4 years. Then I moved up to New Albany, Ohio, which is a suburb of Columbus, and got the aquatic director's position up at a high school there. So then I was coaching the high school team and doing, some of the aquatic stuff there, and I really enjoyed that part. And I've kind of moved around on the jobs, and I've been in Parks and Rec for the last 10, 11 years. But even since I started coaching at New Albany, I've been doing that for 17 years now. So I still love to work with the kids and try to get them to achieve a level that they don't realize that they can achieve.
New Albany. So you're still coaching at New Albany High School.
Correct.
And Ohio high school swimming is pretty intense. I'm sure you've noticed. Tell me about these kids that you coach.
They're good kids. They're good kids. They're trying hard. We've got some dedicated ones that swim year-round. We've got kids that only come out for the high school team. So we've got a mixed bag, and it's a lot of fun to coach all the different levels. So we're talking with basic instruction, plus we're also talking and coaching challenging and seeing if we can get them to step up and qualify for juniors. And so it's quite a range, and I'm just having a lot of fun doing it.
And your full-time job is Director of Parks and Rec for New Albany, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, so the burning question, have you seen the NBC comedy Parks and Recreation? I have.
It's pretty funny.
And you got how close is that to reality, if at all?
Some of it did hit some points that were pretty interesting. So I didn't watch it religiously. I did watch a couple episodes. Of course, the actors and actresses do a good job of poking each other and everything else. But some of the themes and some of the stories certainly hit home, funding and all that kind of stuff. So it was funny.
Do you identify with Ron Swanson, who plays the director of Parks and Rec in that episode?
No, not really.
I didn't think so. You seem to be very on the opposite ends of the scale to me.
I like to have a good time. I like to work with the community, offer the opportunities for the community. So it's a little different.
Yeah. Well, moving back to the pool, you were part of an extraordinary legacy of individual medley swimmers throughout swimming history. And, your battles with Tamas Darnyi throughout those years that you were swimming really stood out to me as probably one of the best rivalries I ever saw in swimming. How much did having him in the sport make you a better athlete?
Quite a bit, actually. It was a lot of challenges back and forth. A lot of times we weren't even in the same pool for those challenges. So that kind of made it a little bit long distance, but all the more, it was there in my head, ready to step up to the challenge. So we had some world record battles going back and forth. When I broke my first world record and he broke it 5 days later in Europe, that one stuck with me. So, it was going back and forth, and probably helped. It probably helped me to step up to be faster and challenge myself to be the best I can be.
And what struck me also is very interesting is both of you had kind of a disability, and yet you were able to do so well at the highest level. I mean, Darnyi was partially blind and you're partially deaf. I mean, did you ever think about, wow, we're able to do so well despite, maybe having these physical challenges?
Not really, because that was, to me, was the beauty of being in the pool. Didn't hear a whole lot, didn't need to hear a whole lot. So for me, the physical, the challenge there, in my head didn't exist. And I certainly, with my teammates and whatnot, didn't play on it or look for an advantage in any way, as I'm sure he did. When you got in the pool, the gloves came off, and the first one to the wall, whether you could see or hear or whatever, was the winner. So it happened to be probably a coincidence that we both had something unique about us, but I don't think either one of us would have saw it as a disadvantage at all.
And looking back, if there was one swim in your life that you say, that's the one that really defined me as Dave Wharton, the swimmer, what do you think that would be?
Probably my first world record in '87. I was at the Pan Pacific Championships in Brisbane, Australia, and I just had a meet out of this world, and it just felt really good. I was working hard. I just graduated from high school, so a lot of years with Coach Schulberg setting me up, and just really had a fun time with the team. The travel, the success, and the swims were fun. Competing against people who were the world record holders before me. So that was probably, that 400 IM really made me feel like I'm getting there.
Well, before we go, I just wanted to get your thoughts on how you think this sport has changed in the past 20 years, whether it's, a stroke change or just the atmosphere of the sport.
It's fun to watch the sport. I went to the trials and I took my kids, and it's amazing to see these athletes today, and what are they doing differently than we did 20 years ago? Because they're still dropping time and they're still breaking records, and they're I'm not convinced that the suits and it's still the bodies that's swimming down the pool. So I think they continue to challenge them and develop them the best way they can. I'm glad to see that they're still going after the records, because that's what records are meant to be for. They're meant to be broken. So it's exciting to see that swimming is still getting faster and faster. What that is, those elite level coaches are still challenging the athlete to be the best. So I'm glad to see that it's still working.
Well, it's great to see you still in the sport, both in and out of the pool, and I'm really glad I got a chance to catch up with you, and good luck in Indianapolis. It's going to be fun watching you.
Thanks. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
All right, so that was Olympian Dave Wharton joining us for today's edition of the Morning Swim Show. Now, the U.S. Masters Springs Nationals begins tomorrow in Indianapolis, and you can go to usms.org to watch the live stream of the meet to see how Dave and others do at the IU Natatorium. Thanks for joining us for today's show. I'm Jeff Commings. Thanks for watching.